Financial information has never been more available than it is now. Look, we're doing this show, right? You can get it anywhere you look. You can get it on YouTube, TV, podcasts, go online, go to Reddit. I mean, wherever you want to go, there is answers for basically any questions you have, and you can get them pretty much immediately, right? But some of the worst financial decisions we see are actually from people that are doing a ton of research first. So where do you get the best information from? What does good research actually look like? We'll try to break it down and help you get a little clarity coming up next. Thanks for joining us here on Perfect Game Retirement. Ben George with Ryan Len, President and Certified Financial Planner at Black Oak Asset Management. Ryan, information's everywhere. I mean, hopefully somebody's watching this video to get some information. We appreciate that, of course, and we try to provide that here. But really, there is a point where you can be too informed, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of noise, and I guess you could throw us out there with noise as well. But we try to provide as much prudent and knowledgeable information out there. But I mean, there's information everywhere. There's information overload, and it's at our fingertips at a split second. It's just, what do people do with that information? Does that information even to pertain to what you're even trying to do with your situation? So, the talking heads out there, again, include me in that if you want to, but the talking heads that are out there on TV and most followed on podcasts and things of that nature, they don't know what's going on in your world. That's why I'm not trying to give like specific advice to people. That's what our clients are for. That's what we give them. But we're trying to provide as much education as possible. So yeah, I mean, it's clickbait out there. There's a lot of noise. It's just, I think people are lacking wisdom when it comes to this stuff. What knowledge and wisdom pertains to you versus what noise is out there that is constantly being flooded into our social media feeds. You name it. It's once you start listening to one, if you start listening to this one, you'll probably have similar ones that are following up behind me as well. I mean, even my stuff's popping up on mine now. I'm like, oh, look at me. So you just never know how the algorithms work. So just remember, it doesn't always pertain to you, even though it's out there.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, obviously there's CNBC, Bloomberg, some of these bigger outlets, right? But then there's also, you have these kind of independent sources on YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, right? And then you have these influencers that have audiences that are very big, and that you don't know really what their credentials are. And it's hard to tell the difference a lot of times between what's actually education versus what's just maybe entertainment or infotainment. But from the clients you speak to, what are the voices that they're referencing the most when they come in and talk with you?
Probably the main two. I mean, Dave Ramsey's always mentioned in there. Clark Howard's probably another one. He's kind of popular here in the Metro Atlanta area. Maybe he's nationwide. I don't really know. I just know he's kind of a local person. Those are probably the biggest two, but there's obviously influencers out there. It depends on the age demographic of who we're talking to and talking about as well. But yeah, I do have people come in and say, hey, I heard this, hey, or I saw this, because there's so much influence out there. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep up with. I mean, because of my algorithms on social media, because I look up a lot of finance stuff. Yeah, I'll get advisors and tax planners and all that kind of stuff pop up, and you're like, okay, who is this person? What are they really trying to do? And they try to say, oh yeah, I'm a portfolio analyst and former financial advisor, and here's what I would do with my money. And it's like, okay, that's good. I mean, good for them. But is that really right for you? Is just buying 5 ETFs and holding them for life, is that going to get you in the right spot? Maybe not. But if you don't have a plan around that, how do you know that that's what is best for you? So yeah, I can't really pinpoint other than those two that people really reference the most. Obviously, we used to be on the Dave Ramsey website, so there's a lot of clients that we have there, and I believe in not having, getting rid of as much debt as possible. But there's some nuances that I would differ from what Dave Ramsey says, but not diabolically different, but there's some nuances that would maybe change here or there. So those are probably the biggest two of my clients that come in who quote someone out there that are giving them advice.
Well, and that'll probably change as you could do this longer and longer, and the clients maybe grow up in this short form media era. They might have some different sources when they come in, but that's for a different day. We haven't talked AI. So the AI factor now and people kind of using this to make financial decisions. Again, there's tools for this everywhere. And oftentimes, the information's probably accurate for the most part. It's not always accurate, but it does often lack context and completeness too. So have you started seeing some of this AI driven research show up in the conversations you're having yet?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's our industry and almost every industry. It's tough to kind of get around it or avoid it. So, I mean, we embrace it. We use it here with our planning as well. And yeah, some people can ask a lot of times, like you say, the context of it, the like how to ask these specific right questions and how to navigate certain investments in certain accounts and the tax code. I mean, there's a lot of nuances. So if you're not directing in how to ask it the right questions, then you may get terrible answers. I mean, AI is awesome in some regards, and sometimes it's not. I mean, we were trying to redo like a PDF over here. We're telling it to do this and change this, and it just flat would not do it correctly. It's like, oh my gosh, like what is going on here? But yet, I got a client who got a 7-page notice from the VA, and it was just attorney gobbledygook, and so I loaded into AI and summarized it, and it was awesome. So yeah, it does have its benefits, but if you're solely going to do your financial planning on that, and maybe some people can and do and manage their portfolios with AI, sure, there's tools out there that can do that kind of stuff. But again, the context and just asking the right questions and knowing exactly what to do, that's still very difficult from an AI standpoint. But we embrace it here. We use it here. We use it for tasks and to make things more efficient. So we embrace it. But I don't know if I would put all my ducks or chips in that one basket just to do all of my financial planning and know that it's correct.
Yeah, it's definitely something to embrace. You have to embrace, right? But again, you got to be kind of a little careful with how you use it and just making sure you're using it properly. But breaking down like the legalese is a great example of how it does really, really work. But yeah, there's some simple tasks that really frustrate you there. But
Mm-hmm.
with research too, I know you kind of pointed this out. Your algorithm shows you a lot of what you're already kind of looking for, right? That's just kind of how it's designed. Feed you more of what you want or what it thinks you want. But the thing is, when you start watching or listening to these things, and you kind of have an opinion on something, it just kind of keeps hammering home that same opinion because you keep getting sort of the same content. So you might feel like you're pretty informed, but you're only looking at one point of view, right? Do you see this with people that come in that maybe have a conclusion on an investment or some type of tool that they just are kind of dead set on before they even walk in? And I'm curious how that conversation goes.
Yeah, those algorithms definitely. They see how long you're on a certain video or view or whatever, and they'll just keep sending you more of that. That's just how it works. And if you just scroll past something quick, probably won't see something like that again. So yeah, it probably just reiterates maybe the opinion that you've already had. So if you're really looking into something, an investment or a strategy or whatever it may be, you need to look at the other side of the fence, if you will, on stuff like that, because there is another side. I mean, I have people come in and go, oh, well, this is bad or this is not good. And I've said this countless times, either on the radio show or this pod or this YouTube channel / podcast, that there is no good or bad. It's right or wrong. What's a good fit for you? Are annuities all bad? Well, no, they're not. They could be a fit. Or is all life insurance bad? No. I mean, it could be a fit for someone, what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. It's not for everybody. So yeah, the algorithms are just going to keep tapping you and keep tapping you and pinging you until you're like, oh yeah, this is the answer, and it may not be the answer, because again, they're only showing those videos that are really, really pertaining to you. So yeah, just be aware that there's pros and cons to everything, and you need to look at both and go through both and see what kind of wins out, and then maybe that's your decision. But there's always going to be downsides to stuff. There's not foolproof. I mean, we were having a discussion last night at my daughter's softball event they had last night, and some guys were talking about, conservation easements and the tax issues that they've had, that, when they were sold these things, oh, these are foolproof. Nothing can go wrong with these things. And now they're blowing up in their face. So just know the pros and cons of each.
Yeah, it's important too. And again, it's also important to remember that there can be too much research, right? I think that can be a problem. It's great to have all this information, but there's a point where you're maybe doing a little bit too much, right? Because it's kind of holding you back in some other areas.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, paralysis by analysis, that's a real thing. I mean, you can overthink this stuff and over research it. How does it pertain to you? What are you trying to accomplish? Again, bring that up with your advisor, and how does this fit into your puzzle piece of life? Because it just may not be. And again, I've had when markets change a whole lot. Well, markets are down this. I'm going to be down this. No, you're not. You're down this. Or same thing on the upside. You may not be taking 100% stock market risk, but different indexes have different returns. I mean, you look at all of them: the Dow, the Nasdaq, the Russell, the S&P. They all have different rates of return. You can't peg it to one certain thing. So you can over research this stuff way too much. And again, how does it pertain to you, and how does it affect your life? That's the main things that you need to focus on. It's okay to do research. Again, too much can be a lot. I have no problem with clients coming to me with, "Hey, I heard this, I saw this. What do you think?" I got no problem with that. But where I have a problem is when you're getting advice from someone who doesn't know you and you're like, "Yep, I want to do this because this is what this guy said." That's not going to be a fit for us. I'm okay with having a dialogue and conversation about it. But if you're going to get your financial advice for someone who doesn't know you, then again, I'm not going to be a good fit, and our team's not going to be a good fit for you. So just be careful of how much research you do. That's our job is to do that. I want people who want to enjoy life, know what they have, but you know what? They hire us for a reason, and we want to take that burden off their plate.
So important, yeah. So for anyone that maybe wants to be more informed, Ryan, but wants to make sure they're getting good research, what would you tell someone just in terms of what good research looks like? Just what can you be doing to be more informed in a positive way?
I'm a podcast guy. I love listen to podcasts, and I try to read as much as I can, but usually it turns into Audible. So I think listening to as much as you can that really resonates with you. I mean, if just like our podcast, Perfect Game Retirement, if people look for retirement planning, maybe we pop up and just go through and see what they're like, see the messages that they're portraying, see what kind of maybe guests they have or topics that they're talking about, and see what resonates with you. And again, you can kind of tell if they're more salesy. I've gone on there because I like hearing about ideas and what people have, and then I can tell if it's salesy or not. Hopefully, that never comes across on this show. That's the last thing I want it to do. But you can tell when people are kind of have that angle and they're trying to push this or push that. But try to get as much knowledge and education that pertains to your situation or most like your situation, and then bring it to your advisor and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I think that's the best way, is to have conversations about it and not have your mind made up on one viewpoint or one vantage point and then go with that decision. There needs to be more that goes into it. But again, for the most part, like, enjoy your life, have a plan, and then stick to that plan and make adjustments with your advisor. That's the best thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know being informed is a good thing, but being confidently misinformed, like a lot of people seem to be these days, is a different thing entirely. So if you want to have an honest conversation about kind of where you stand and where your financial future could be headed towards, right? Begin that planning process now. Have that conversation with Ryan. Just go to speakwithryan.com. You can get all the contact information for Black Oak Asset Management down in the show description, so check it out. But there's a lot out there, right? So make sure you're doing the right thing, but always have a trusted advisor that you can lean on to ask questions, right? To get the feedback that pertains to you and your situation. But thanks for being a part of Perfect Game Retirement. We have another episode coming next week, so stay tuned and subscribe. Take care.